Okay, let's unpack this.
Let's do it.
We're diving into something that, honestly, it seems to stop more people in their tracks than almost anything else when they think about starting a business.
Yeah, that initial fear.
Exactly. It's this idea that entrepreneurship is just chaotic, high risk, totally random. Maybe you need a massive dose of luck.
Well, that's the common view, isn't it? But what's really fascinating and what our sources and, frankly, decades of real-world evidence show is that it's actually the opposite.
The opposite. How so?
The journey, the actual path of building a business, it's surprisingly predictable. I'd even say it's safe if, and that's the big if, you follow a specific map, a process.
Okay, predictable and safe aren't words I usually associate with startups.
I know it sounds counterintuitive.
Yeah.
But think about the context we're in. We are genuinely living in this incredible moment in history, starting a small business, one that can reach customers globally. The cost has just plummeted. It's almost negligible in some cases.
Right. The accessibility is unprecedented.
Absolutely. This combination of low cost and global reach, this is the opportunity of our generation. It really is.
And looking at your background, you've been through this process how many times? An accelerator with, 4,500 companies?
Yeah, we've seen a lot of patterns.
Plus, personally, building 7 businesses from basically zero to over $1 million in revenue within a year. And 3 of those went north of $10 million.
That's right. It's not about luck at that scale.
No, that sounds like someone who's cracked the code. You've seen the patterns. You've seen what works, what doesn't. You've basically got the map.
We believe we do. And look, our mission today really is to hand that map over to you, the listener.
Okay.
We want you to walk away knowing the sequence. What do you actually do first to see if your idea has legs? Then what's next to get stable? And then how do you build it up? How do you scale?
Step by step.
Exactly. But crucially, we can't just jump into the map, the what to do. We have to start with the driver, the person behind the wheel, meaning your mindset. Honestly, the single biggest factor in whether you succeed or fail isn't the market conditions. It's not the tech. It's not even the funding. It fundamentally comes down to how you are thinking, your internal state.
Okay, so mindset first. Success starts there. And you're saying our environment, like our immediate situation, actually dictates how well we perform mentally.
Massively. The research backs us up strongly. Our sources talk about 3 basic modes, 3 ways people operate. Let's start at the bottom, the least helpful one. Reptile mode.
Reptile mode. Sounds primal.
It is. It's that ancient survival brain kicking in. Fight, flight, freeze, or, freak out.
We've all been there.
Oh, absolutely. In a business context, it looks like defensiveness, lashing out, maybe even attacking people who are just trying to help. The core feeling in reptile mode is that the world's unfair. It's rigged against you, and success is basically impossible because of things outside your control.
I remember you mentioning an example, something about a parking ticket.
Yes. The classic $40 parking ticket meltdown. Logically, $40. It's annoying, right? But it shouldn't derail your whole day or week.
No.
But if you're in reptile mode, that small thing feels like this massive, insurmountable obstacle. It triggers this panic state, and suddenly you can't think clearly, you can't problem solve, you're just reacting.
And that scarcity feeling, it makes everything seem limited, time, energy, money.
Exactly. It feels like a zero-sum game.
Right.
And that often leads straight into the next mode, which is autopilot.
Autopilot mode, so just coasting.
Pretty much. It's the state of just repeating the past, doing what you did yesterday and the day before. You're stuck in these loops. Like maybe you don't speak up in a meeting, even if you have a good idea, because, well, that's just not what I do.
Sticking to the script.
Sticking to the script, staying in the comfort zone. But that comfort zone isn't growing you or your business. It's stagnation, really.
Okay, so reptile is survival panic. Autopilot is repetition. The goal then has to be the third mode, visionary mode. What does that feel like?
Visionary mode, that's where the magic happens. It's expansive. It's feeling like anything is possible. The key shift is your time frame.
How so?
Instead of being consumed by the next 24 or 48 hours like in reptile mode, you start thinking in much longer arcs, 10 years, 20 years out.
Wow, okay. Big picture thinking.
Huge picture. And you see the world differently, not as this dog-eat-dog place of scarcity, but as one small, interconnected world brimming with opportunity. And importantly, this mode is driven by optimism, by compassion, by a belief in abundance. It's a fundamentally different operating system.
And you mentioned there's actual science behind this. It's not just Feeling good. It affects cognitive ability.
Absolutely. There's compelling research, like this study is done with farmers in India. It's quite stark, actually.
What did they find?
They measured the farmers' cognitive function, basically their IQ scores, at 2 different times. First, right after they received their big annual payment when they felt relatively wealthy, abundant. That's the visionary state proxy.
Yeah.
And then they measured again later when the money was running low and they were facing scarcity. Back towards reptile mode.
And the difference?
It was significant. When they were in that abundant state, their measurable IQ scores jumped by about 15 points.
15 points? It's huge.
It's massive. And conversely, when they were in the scarcity state, their scores dropped significantly.
That's actually quite alarming. It means when you're struggling the most, your brain is literally working less effectively.
Precisely. It makes climbing out of that hole so much harder. Scarcity actually handicaps your ability to find solutions.
It becomes a vicious cycle.
A total self-fulfilling prophecy. You feel the world's unfair, and the scarcity mindset makes you less capable of changing your circumstances, which reinforces the feeling. Breaking that cycle means shifting how you view resources.
Okay, how does the visionary see resources differently?
The visionary understands something simple but kind of shocking when you first grasp it. Resources are usually just a couple of conversations away.
Couple of conversations.
Yeah.
What about needing, like, millions in funding or specialized equipment?
Think about it this way. Those resources, the money, the equipment, even something huge like, say, an aircraft carrier, someone, somewhere, woke up this morning and those resources were under their control.
Right. They exist.
Yeah.
Someone owns or manages them.
Exactly. The visionary sees the world not as fixed rules, but as this gray zone of possibility. If you have a genuinely compelling vision, a story, a pitch that enrolls people, you can mobilize those resources.
So you can give an example of that, like the aircraft carrier.
Well, think about the original Top Gun movie. The producers needed access to fighter jets, aircraft carriers, incredibly expensive military hardware.
Yeah, you can't just rent those.
Right. But the Navy's resource manager woke up that morning with those assets. The film producers pitched a vision, a movie that would make naval aviation look incredibly cool and boost recruitment. The Navy said yes. Why? Not because the producers paid market rate for the carrier time, but because the pitch enrolled the Navy in the vision. The movie became a recruiting tool. The resource was mobilized by the power of the pitch.
That's a powerful reframe. It's about enrollment, not just transactions.
Entirely. And this mindset shift also dramatically changes how you view failure.
Okay, yeah. Failure's a big one.
Yeah.
The school system kind of trains us to fear it, right?
It does, because historically, school prioritized functionality. Can you reliably perform this task? Can you get the right answer on the test? If you fail, your functionality is deemed flawed. That's bad in a functional world.
But the world is changing, especially with AI.
Massively. We're moving into a post-AI world where pure functionality, driving a car, writing basic code, summarizing documents, is rapidly being commoditized by machines. If your value is purely functional, you're replaceable. Failure in that context is bad.
So where does the value shift?
It swings towards vitality.
Vitality. Define that for us.
Vitality it's that irreplaceable life force energy. It's the snark, the magic, the context that only a human can bring.
Okay, I think I get it. It's the you part.
Exactly. A vital person isn't afraid of failure in the same way. Why? Because they see failure not as a judgment on their functionality, but as data collection. They're running experiments.
Like learning to ride a bike. Or parenting.
Perfect examples. You fall off the bike, you adjust, you try again. That's not functional failure. It's vital experimentation to bring something new into existence. The value isn't just the bike, the functional tool. It's the act of learning, the persistence, the vitality you bring to it.
So it's like the magician's trick.
Exactly. Think about a magician using a fake thumb tip. The thumb tip itself, that's the functional tool. Cheap, anyone can buy one. But the magic, that's the vitality. It's the performance, the misdirection, the personality, the timing. That's irreplaceable.
So entrepreneurs need to stop obsessing over just being functional and focus on bringing that vitality, that life force, to create assets.
That's the game changer. Focus on vitality and asset creation.
Okay, so shifting the mindset away from reptile autopilot, away from purely functional thinking, means avoiding a really common trap, doesn't it? That trap of trying to perfect an idea in isolation.
Oh, absolutely. That's probably the single biggest mistake we see would-be entrepreneurs make. They sit on the sofa, maybe they write a 50-page business plan.
Polishing it, refining it.
Exactly. Sharpening the idea in their own mind, or maybe with a few close friends who tell them what they want to hear, but not where it counts. out in the real market.
And that leads to...
Paralysis, mostly. Or worse, they actually go and spend money, raise funds, rent an office, build the thing before they have any real proof anyone wants it. Then they launch, and it's just crickets. Expensive crickets.
Right, so the alternative is to think like a scientist.
Precisely. You need to run experiments, cheap experiments, fast experiments. And crucially, you can't be emotionally attached to the outcome.
The data is the goal, not proving your idea right?
Yes. If an experiment shows your initial idea is flawed, fantastic. You just learned something vital quickly and cheaply. That's a successful experiment because it lets you pivot or adjust before you've wasted serious time or capital.
This also tackles that other common fear. Oh no, what if someone steals my brilliant idea?
Yeah, that one comes up a lot. Look, let's be blunt. Ideas on their own are worth basically nothing. Zero.
Harsh, but probably true.
It's all about the execution. If someone takes your concept and executes it better, faster, more effectively than you, honestly, they probably deserve the rewards.
Because entrepreneurship isn't just about having ideas.
No. Entrepreneurs are salespeople first. They sell the vision, they enroll people, then they're executors. If you're paralyzed by the fear of someone stealing your idea, you're likely operating from that scarcity mindset again, and you probably don't have enough confidence in your own ability to execute.
Okay, so focus on execution, test in the market. Always start with demand, not supply. Don't build the factory first.
Never build the factory first. Find out if people want the widgets. And the single most powerful, cheapest, fastest way to test demand early on, it's the waiting list.
The humble waiting list. Why is it so effective?
It's brilliant psychology. Think about it. To actually buy something, especially something new or expensive, you need to be pretty certain, right? Maybe 90, 100% sure.
Yeah, it's a commitment.
But to join a waiting list, you only need to be maybe 5%, 10% curious. That might be useful for us someday. It lowers the barrier to entry dramatically. It's a slow warm-up.
We've seen this used on a massive scale, haven't we?
Oh, yeah. Look at Elon Musk with the Tesla Model 3 or the Cybertruck. He launched waiting lists years before the vehicles were ready.
And people paid deposits.
Hundreds of thousands, maybe millions of people put down $100 deposits. That wasn't just market validation. That was millions in zero-interest, unsecured seed capital. And crucially, it gave him incredible data and leverage for later funding rounds. That list was arguably the most valuable asset he had early on.
It's not just for tech either. You mentioned Rolex.
Yeah, that's a fascinating case. Rolex apparently had a huge breakthrough when they shifted their strategy. They essentially stopped just selling watches and started selling access to the waiting list.
Creating scarcity.
Exactly. You register your interest, you wait months, maybe a year or more, then you get the privilege of buying the watch. That uncertainty, that wait, it leverages scarcity and makes the buyer value the product way more because they had to sort of fight for it.
And beyond the psychology, the waiting list is a goldmine for data. Right. If you ask the right things.
This is key. Don't just collect emails. When people sign up, ask them questions. When my team tested an idea for an AI tool to help people write books, we put up a simple landing page, a waiting list.
Okay.
We got about 750 signups pretty quickly. But we asked them, what's the main problem you're hoping this book will solve? Realistically, what would you pay for a tool that helped you do this? And crucially, what are you using now to try and solve this problem?
That last one tells you who your real competitors are and what the market tolerates currently.
Instantly. So, based purely on that waiting list data, we hadn't written a single line of code. Remember, we went out and raised £300,000 in seed funding.
Just on the waiting list data.
Just on the data. Because it proved the demand, it showed us the customer pain points, it gave us pricing signals, it de-risked the whole proposition for investors. It was concrete evidence.
It reminds me of that study you mentioned with a boring online forum.
Oh, yeah, the perceived value study. They had two groups wanting to join this, frankly, quite dull online forum. One group got immediate access. The other group had to go through this slightly inconvenient, effortful application process.
And the ones who had to work for it.
They rated the forum as significantly more valuable and engaging. It's the IKEA effect or the Harvard effect. We value things more if we have to invest effort or overcome barriers to get them. Waiting lists tap into that.
Okay, so waiting lists are powerful. What if that model doesn't quite fit? Are there other cheap ways to test demand?
Yeah, absolutely. Two other simple ones we use a lot. Strategy 2 is discussion groups.
Like a Facebook group or WhatsApp?
Exactly. Let's say you think there's a market for, I don't know, weight loss coaching specifically for people in West London. Don't rent an office. Start a free WhatsApp group called weight loss Wesworth warriors or something.
Catchy.
Huh, maybe. But the point is, you build the community first. You listen to their struggles, their questions, what they complain about. You gather data directly from your target audience. Then, the product or service you eventually offer is simply the solution tailored to the problems you've already heard them discuss.
You build the audience, then the product for the audience. Smart. And strategy 3.
Online assessments or scorecards. These are great, especially for service or knowledge businesses.
Like those quizzes, how ready are you to X?
Exactly. Are you ready to launch your podcast? Take our 10-question scorecard? Or assess your financial readiness for retirement. They work brilliantly as lead generators because they get the user to self-diagnose their problem. They answer the questions, you capture their details, and importantly, their answers tell you exactly where they think they need help. It allows you to tailor your follow-up and your offer perfectly. Remember, everything in business flows downstream from getting good leads.
So all these testing methods, waiting lists, groups, scorecards, they're really about confirming if there's a genuine overlap between your passion, your vision, and what the market actually wants, right?
Precisely. You might be incredibly passionate about, artisanal mushroom coffee.
Someone probably is.
Someone definitely is. But does the market need another artisanal mushroom coffee brand right now? Maybe, maybe not. Testing tells you. You need that marriage between your internal drive, your why, and external market demand.
And if the market signals no,
You pivot fast. You don't cling to the mushroom coffee idea just because you love it. You take the execution muscle you've built, the lessons learned, and you apply them to the next idea that the market does show signs of wanting. Speed of execution on market demand wins, always.
Okay, so let's say we've done the testing. We've got the signals from the market, the waiting list is filling up, the discussion group is active, we have data. Now we need resources, money, partners, key hires. This brings us to pitching.
Yes. If testing is about listening to the market, pitching is about speaking to the market, or at least the resource holders. Entrepreneurs literally have to pitch their vision into existence. You're enrolling people into your reality.
And just like testing, there's a process, a structure to make it more predictable.
Absolutely. We use a framework called Capstone. It's designed to make sure you cover all the critical elements needed, not just to inform, but to truly enroll someone in your vision.
Capstone. Okay, let's break that down. What's the C?
C is for clarity. Simple, but vital. If you confuse your audience, you lose them instantly. Can you state your mission, your core idea, in one clear, concise sentence?
Get straight to the point. Okay. A.
A is authority. Why should they listen to you? This isn't necessarily about boasting, but establishing credibility. It could be your experience, your team's expertise, the unique data you gathered from your waiting list, maybe early results, or even key advisors you've brought on board. It signals you know what you're doing.
Right, build that trust. Next is PS.
Problem solution. Clearly define the pain point your target audience is experiencing. Make it tangible. Then articulate your unique solution or insight. How do you solve that specific problem better or differently?
Makes sense. Then WU.
W is why. This is critical for connection, for tapping into vitality. Why do you care about this? Why are you the right person emotionally and ethically to pursue this? People connect with purpose. They invest in the person as much as the idea.
Connecting the head and the heart. What about O and N?
O is opportunity. Paint the bigger picture. If this works, how big can it get? What's the market size? What's the potential upside for everyone involved? This gives investors or partners permission to think big alongside you. And N is next steps. Super important. Be crystal clear about what you want the audience to do right now. Is it invest? Sign up. Make an introduction. Don't leave them guessing.
Okay, clarity, authority, problem solution, why, opportunity, next steps. That's capstan. What's the E?
The E is essence emotion. This is about avoiding that flat logistical ender to your pitch. You need to consciously decide what is the core feeling you want people to walk away with.
The emotional takeaway.
Exactly. Is it excitement, confidence, urgency, intrigue? People might forget the specific numbers, but they will remember how you made them feel. That essence links back to the vitality, the human element.
So the whole capstone framework leads up to the crucial moment, the great ask. Making the actual request for resources. You mentioned a key ingredient here is projecting, what was it, with or without you energy?
Yes, with or without you energy.
Now, I want to push back on that a little. If you're a founder, maybe you're bootstrapping, you genuinely need the investment or the partnership. How do you project, I'm doing this anyway, without sounding arrogant or frankly delusional?
That's a fair challenge. It's crucial to understand this isn't about arrogance at all. And it's not about pretending you don't need the resources. It's about your fundamental belief in the vision.
Okay, explain that.
Neediness is repellent. Confidence and conviction are magnetic. If you deeply believe that your vision is valuable, that it solves a real problem, that it needs to exist, then you present the opportunity to the investor or partner differently. It's not, please, sir, can I have some more? It's, look, this train is leaving the station. This vision is happening because the world needs it, and I'm driving it. Getting involved isn't doing me a favor. It's an opportunity for you to join an accelerating journey and achieve your goals faster by aligning with mine. You see the difference?
Yeah, it reframes it completely. It's an invitation to join something already in motion, not a plea to get something started.
Exactly. People are psychologically drawn to momentum. They suffer from FOMO, fear of missing out. With or without you, energy signals that the opportunity is real and finite, making them want to jump aboard before it's too late.
You actually lived this, didn't you? When you first arrived in the UK, basically knowing no one.
Yes. That was a pure exercise in enrollment and manufacturing that energy from scratch. I landed in London with a credit card and a plan, but zero local network in my target industry.
So what did you do? Cold calls?
God, no. Cold calls scream neediness. I decided I had to look influential to attract influence, so I took a gamble. I used my credit card to throw a fairly expensive, high-end, private dinner party, maybe $1,500 or so.
For who?
For about 30 of the most connected, influential people in my target industry in London, people who absolutely did not know me from Adam.
You essentially bought access to the room.
I bought the room, exactly. Created an environment of influence. Then, halfway through the dinner, I stood up, kept it very short, maybe 2 minutes, used the capstone essence, clarity, authority, my track record elsewhere, problem solution for the UK market, my why, the opportunity.
And the ask, the next steps.
The ask was super simple and framed with scarcity. I said, look, I'm launching this new venture next week. I've already scheduled 28 one-on-one partnership meetings over the next 2 weeks to get this moving fast. If you see a potential fit and want to explore collaborating, grab me after dinner. Here's my diary.
Brilliant. You establish momentum.
Yeah.
I'm launching anyway. And scarcity. I only have so many meeting slots and others are already taking them.
Precisely. I wasn't asking for permission. I wasn't asking for funding right there. I was offering access to something that was clearly happening. The energy was pure enrollment. This is the vision. It's moving. I'd love for you to be part of it. Here's how. Now enjoy the lamb.
And did it work? How many meetings did you book?
Out of the 30 people there, 28 booked meetings on the spot. Those meetings led to the key partnerships that drove the initial launch. That business did about $1.25 million in sales in the first few months, largely off the back of the momentum created at that dinner. It all came down to that with or without you energy.
Okay, that dinner party story perfectly illustrates the power of enrollment.
Oh.
So assuming we've got the visionary mindset, we've validated the idea in the market, we've nailed the pitch, now we actually build the thing. And the first thing to do, you insist, is ditch the whole solopreneur idea.
Absolutely. Throw it out the window. Look, maybe you can build a small lifestyle business solo, but if you're aiming for significant growth, for scale, for creating a real asset, business is fundamentally a team sport. Full stop.
So how do you think about building that team? Is there structure?
There is. We borrow heavily from, believe it or not, the British military's small unit structures. They've figured out optimal team sizes for effectiveness under pressure.
Okay, interesting. What are the numbers?
It scales predictably. You start with a 2-person team, like a scout pair. Then you grow to a 4-person fire team, then an 8-person section, and finally a 30-person platoon. Roughly 2, 4, 8, 30. You structure your hiring and your organizational design around hitting these key inflection points.
2, 4, 8, 30.
Got it.
And the type of people you bring in matters too, right? Not just underlings.
Critically important. The goal isn't to hire people you can easily manage or boss around. The goal is to hire overlings.
Overlings.
People who are demonstrably better than you in their specific area of expertise.
Whoa.
Your job as the founder shifts. You stop being the person doing all the things and you become the orchestra conductor. You find the best violinists, the best percussionists, the best brass player people way better than you at their instruments, and your job is to bring them together, set the vision, and ensure they play harmoniously.
Okay, so let's walk through the journey using these stages. Stage 1, starting from 0. What's the focus?
Stage 1, chaos to 6 figures. This is the validation phase, really proving the core concept in the market with actual paying customers. The absolute focus here is on 4 things. Think concept, audience, offer, sales.
Okay.
First, concept validation. We cover that with testing. Second, audience engagement, really understanding who they are, where they hang out. Third, offer construction packaging your solution in a way that resonates and sells. And fourth, crucially, developing a predictable sales rhythm.
The sales rhythm. You mentioned a metric for this, LAPS.
Yes, LAPS. It stands for leads, appointments, presentations, sales. This is the absolute heartbeat of an early stage business. You have to track these numbers religiously.
How does tracking LAPS help manage that early chaos?
It brings clarity and predictability. Let's say you track everything for a month. You find out that for every, say, 20 leads you generate, you manage to book 10 appointments or calls.
Okay, 50% lead to appointment.
Right. And out of those 10 appointments, maybe you get to do a full presentation or demo for 5 of them.
50% appointment to presentation.
And out of those 5 presentations, you close 1 sale.
20% presentation to sale.
Exactly. So now you know your overall lead to sale ratio is 20.1. If your goal next month is to make 10 sales, what do you need?
20 times 10, 200 leads.
Bingo. Suddenly, the chaos has a formula. You know exactly what input leads you need to generate the desired output, sales. It stops being guesswork and becomes math. Nailing that LAPS rhythm is the primary goal of stage 1.
Okay, predictable sales are happening. Maybe you're hitting 6 figures. What's stage 2? Scaling up.
Stage 2 is typically moving towards 7 figures and beyond. This stage is all about building structure and, critically, digitization.
Structure first. What does that look like?
2 key things. First, you usually need a key person of influence, KPO. This might still be the founder, but it's someone who embodies the brand, tells the story, leads from the front. Second, you build out that core team of 8. This is where you bring in specialists, maybe a general manager, heads of marketing, sales, finance, operations. The overlings start filling key seats.
Right, the 8-person section. And the digitization part, why is that so crucial?
Because this is where you turn the magic that might still be stuck in the founder's head into actual company assets. It's about formalizing everything.
Like what specifically?
Moving all your customer interactions from random emails or spreadsheets into a proper CRM system, codifying your intellectual property, writing down sales scripts, creating standard operating procedures, SOPs for everything, building detailed training manuals, even defining and documenting your company culture. You're essentially building the company's brain outside of any single individual.
And the benefit of all that formalizing, beyond just being organized.
It dramatically impacts your valuation, primarily through a metric called revenue per person, RPP.
Revenue per person. How does digitization boost that?
Think about it. If you have a well-documented sales process and a great CRM, digital assets, your sales team can be more effective. If you have online training modules, digital assets, you can onboard new hires faster. If your marketing funnel is automated, digital asset, you generate leads more efficiently. These digital assets mean your team of 8 can now generate, say, $2 million in revenue instead of $1 million without them. The company is more efficient, less reliant on individuals, and therefore worth more.
That really clarifies the link between structure and value. Okay, stage 2 is digitization and hitting that 8-person team. Then comes stage 3, which you mentioned is notoriously difficult.
Yes. Stage 3, the hard jump. This is typically scaling from around 12 people up towards 30. And statistically, this is where a huge number of promising companies stall or even fail.
Why is this jump so hard? Too big to be small, too small to be big.
That's exactly it. The things that made you successful in stage 1 and 2, the scrappiness, the generalists, everyone doing a bit of everything suddenly become liabilities.
Also,
in the early days, you needed those Swiss Army knives, people who could maybe do sales okay, marketing okay, and customer support okay. They were adaptable and fast. But to get to 30-plus people in serious scale, you need specialists. You need bread knives.
bread knives.
People who only cut bread, but they do it perfectly efficiently every single time. You need a dedicated head of finance who is only focused on finance, a marketing specialist who lives and breathes PPC ads, a salesperson who only closes deals. The generalists often struggle in this more structured environment.
So this stage often involves painful personnel changes. The early team might not be the right team for the future.
Very often, yes. The loyal rebels and misfits who got you through the early chaos might not have the skills or even the desire to operate in a more professionalized, specialized structure. This is where the founder's leadership is truly tested. You have to make tough decisions, sometimes moving foundational people into different roles or even out of the company for the sake of the organization's growth. It requires putting the company's needs above personal loyalty, which is incredibly hard.
Winning over ego, as you said.
Yeah.
Okay, if you navigate that minefield, you reach stage 4, mature business. What does that look like? Exit readiness.
Exactly. You're typically at 30 plus employees. You likely have a formalized executive team of maybe 5 key leaders, plus often external advisors or non-executive directors, NEDs, bringing outside perspective. Your systems are robust, predictable. Your RPP is high because of all that stage 2 digitization. You're generating consistent profits.
Is there a typical revenue profit target here that signals exit ready?
It varies widely by industry, of course, but a common benchmark people aim for might be something like $10, $12 million in annual revenue, with around $3 million in stable profit, EBITDA. At that point, the business is a well-oiled machine. It's predictable, valuable, and attractive for acquisition, private equity investment, or potentially even an IPO down the line.
That lays out the organic growth path clearly. But you mentioned another path, leveraging existing businesses, this acquisition arbitrage idea.
Yes, and honestly, right now, this might be one of the single biggest, most overlooked wealth creation opportunities out there.
Why now specifically?
Demographics. Around 65%, maybe even more, of all small to medium business equity is currently held by baby boomers, and they are hitting retirement age in droves. Millions of them need to exit their businesses in the next 5-10 years.
And many of these businesses are.
They're often what we call boring boomer businesses, or BBBs. Think like a small regional plumbing supply company, a niche manufacturing firm, an elevator maintenance service, a local print shop. Solid, functional businesses.
But if they're solid, why haven't they sold already? Why is there an opportunity?
Because many of them are stuck. They've probably declined from their peak. The founder is maybe tired, operating in autopilot mode. There's often zero digitization. Everything runs on spreadsheets and personal relationships. The kids don't want to take over. They're fundamentally unsaleable on the open market in their current state because they're too reliant on the owner and lack modern systems.
So the arbitrage is buying this undervalued, stagnant asset.
Exactly. But the real kicker is how you can potentially buy them. You don't necessarily need a huge chunk of capital up front.
How does that work? The zero money down idea.
It often relies on a structure called a vendor sale exit or seller financing. Essentially, the retiring owner finances the purchase for you. You agree on a price, but instead of paying it all up front with bank loans, you pay the owner back over several years out of the business's future profits.
And the loan is secured by
the business itself. The owner agrees to this because, frankly, getting paid over time from a revitalized business is better than getting nothing if the business just closes down when they retire. It secures their retirement income stream.
So you acquire the business with little or no cash down, inject your visionary energy and vitality, implement all that stage 2 digitization we talked about.
Precisely. You take their clunky paper-based processes. Remember that example of orders being printed and put on a physical spike? You replace that with a CRM. You build a simple website with online ordering. You create SOPs. You inject modern marketing. You take this functional but declining asset, bring it back to life, maybe exceed its previous high watermark, and create significant equity value, potentially from nothing down.
That sounds like a phenomenal opportunity for someone with energy and digital skills, but maybe not a lot of capital.
It's huge. Instead of battling through the chaos of stage 1 from scratch, you're buying an existing customer base, existing revenue, existing infrastructure, and applying your vitality to unlock trapped value.
Okay, this idea of injecting vitality and creating assets brings us full circle, back to mindset, especially now with AI becoming so pervasive. You drew a distinction earlier about work that builds an asset versus purely transactional work.
Yes, and this is fundamental to sustainable success and, frankly, personal fulfillment. Think about work-life balance. People who genuinely love their work, who don't feel that constant drain, they're usually engaged in work that simultaneously, day by day, builds an asset.
What kind of assets?
Equity in the business, obviously, but also brand reputation, intellectual property, like those SOPs or software, a strong company culture, a loyal customer list or audience like the one we're building with this deep dive right now. These things have a life force beyond the specific day they were created.
Whereas purely functional work,
like driving for Uber or doing basic data entry, you put in 16 hours, you get paid for 16 hours. But at the end of the day, no lasting asset has been created. You start from zero again tomorrow. That's the path to burnout.
And AI accelerates this divergence, doesn't it? This split between asset creation and functional tasks.
Massively. AI is what's called a general purpose technology, like electricity or the internet. It's going to change everything. And its core strength. It excels at functionality and content generation.
Can write the email, draft a report, analyze the data.
Flawlessly, tirelessly, almost instantly. All those functional tasks that used to make up a large part of many jobs, AI will do them better and cheaper. But what does AI completely lack? Vitality.
Yeah.
And context. It doesn't have life experience, intuition, empathy, purpose. It doesn't understand the why behind the task.
So this forces a choice for everyone, really.
A very conscious choice. Are you going to let AI push you towards becoming a maximum consumer? Let its algorithms feed you perfectly optimized content, keeping you scrolling on TikTok or Netflix for 16 hours a day, passively consuming.
The path of least resistance, maybe?
Perhaps. Or are you going to leverage AI as a tool to become a maximum creator? Combine your unique human vitality, your context, your vision, with AI's incredible functional power to achieve things that were previously impossible, to become superhumanly creative and productive.
Using AI as a co-pilot, not letting it fly the plane into the ground.
Exactly. The entrepreneur's role becomes even more focused on providing the vision, the context, the vitality, the pitch, and letting AI handle a lot of the underlying functional mechanics.
And practically speaking, AI is already lowering the barriers for complex entrepreneurial moves, like those acquisitions we discussed.
Oh, dramatically. Think about structuring that zero money down vendor financing deal 10, even 5 years ago. Just to get a basic draft of the legal heads of terms for something like that, you'd need to spend thousands engaging an experienced M&A lawyer or CFO.
Right, a significant upfront cost and knowledge barrier.
Now, you can go to a tool like ChatGPT and prompt it. Act as an expert CFO specializing in small business acquisitions. I want to structure a deal to buy a 20-year-old manufacturing company with $2 in revenue using 100% seller financing via a vendor note paid over 5 years from profits. Draft the key points for a non-binding heads of terms document, including typical representations and warranties.
And it will generate a starting point.
It'll generate a remarkably sophisticated starting point in seconds. It gives you the language, the structure, the key considerations. It doesn't replace the lawyer for final execution, but it massively democratizes the knowledge needed to even start that conversation.
It lets you be the orchestra conductor from day one.
Exactly. The AI provides the functional score, the sheet music. The human provides the interpretation, the passion, the vitality, the conducting to actually make the deal happen and bring the business to life. #tag outro.
So what does this all mean? Let's try and tie this deep dive together. The journey, the map to entrepreneurial success, it is predictable, isn't it?
It really is, if you follow the steps.
Step 1, get your mind right. Cultivate that visionary state. Find environments and practices that boost your energy, your vitality, your cognitive function. Ditch reptile and autopilot.
Crucial first step. Mindset dictates everything.
Step 2, test relentlessly but smartly. Fail fast, fail cheap out in the market. Use waiting lists, use discussion groups, use scorecards. Get that data. Master your LAPS rhythm leads, appointments, presentations, sales.
Validate before you build. Always.
Step 3, pitch with confidence. Master the capstone framework, clarity, authority, problem solution, why, opportunity, next steps, and that all-important essence. Project with or without you energy to enroll resources.
Enrollment is key. People follow conviction.
And finally, step 4, follow the predictable growth stages. Build your team 2, 4, 8, 30, bringing in overlays. Move from chaos to 6 figures by nailing LAPS. Scale up through digitization and boosting revenue per person. Survive the hard jump by professionalizing. And build towards exit readiness with strong systems and profits.
That's the map. From concept to potential exit.
And weaving through all of this is that core idea of asset creation fueled by vitality.
Yes. And that leads directly to what might be the biggest opportunity right now. It's not necessarily starting the next unicorn tech company from scratch.
No.
The greatest potential for many right now might lie in finding one of those declining, purely functional assets, a boring boomer business.
The DVB.
Acquiring it, maybe using that zero money down vendor financing structure, and then transforming it. Injecting your modern creator mindset, your vitality, your digital skills, breathing new life into it.
So the final provocative thought for you, the listener, is this. Forget the shiny new objects for a moment. Look around your own town, your own community today. Which established, perhaps overlooked, maybe even dying business is crying out for your specific vitality? Which functional operation could you transform by digitizing it, by injecting new energy, turning its decline into your predictable, maybe even exponential growth?
Go find a boring business that desperately needs your magic.
Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today, we've got a really clear mission for you.
Yeah. What are we diving into?
We're unpacking the playbook of a pretty successful serial founder. We're talking 7 businesses, 0 to $1 million bucks, inside 12 months each.
Wow. Okay, so not just theory.
Not at all.
Yeah.
This is meant to be a kind of predictable map for building a business, especially now that, global small businesses are genuinely within reach for almost anyone, thanks to tech.
That accessibility point is huge. You hear so much doom and gloom about the economy, right? But the argument here is interesting.
Oh, yeah.
Well, the previous generation, maybe they had affordable housing. But we have affordable global business creation. It's a different kind of opportunity.
But there's a catch. The biggest hurdle isn't really the market, is it? It's getting stuck. Internal paralysis.
Exactly. The surfapreneurs, as the source calls them.
Right. These folks with a great idea, but they're just terrified. Terrified of failing or looking stupid.
So they polish the idea in their head forever, aiming for perfect.
Instead of sharpening it where it counts out in the actual market.
Yeah, that's the key. And that paralysis, it boils down to fear,
Right.
Fear of judgment.
So the successful ones, they think differently. More like scientists.
Precisely. Like a scientist running an experiment, design it fast, make it cheap. And here's the crucial bit. You have to be rigorously not attached emotionally to the outcome.
So if the experiment bombs.
It's not your life's dream crashing down. It's just data.
Yeah.
Really valuable data about what the market doesn't want. You learn and move on.
Okay, so what's the quickest, cheapest experiment then?
Just a simple waiting list. A basic landing cage. We see huge players do this.
Like Elon Musk with the Cybertruck? Taking deposits years ahead?
Exactly. Or, say, an author testing a book idea, just seeing how many email signups a title gets. That's market feedback, super cheap.
And the psychology there is interesting. People don't need to be 100% sold to join a list, right?
No, not at all. Maybe 5–10% certain. Just curious enough. And that small, yes, that little bit of buy-in, it gives you, the founder, permission. Permission and time to nurture them, build trust, warm them up until they are 100% ready.
It's like that story about Rolex. They stopped selling watches.
Well, kind of. They realized the real product, the thing people craved, was the anticipation. The waiting list itself became the valuable asset they were selling, that desire.
Okay, so you got some validation, maybe from a waiting list, but then you hit the inevitable tough spots, the valleys. What gets you through that?
It can't just be surface-level enthusiasm like, oh, I love baking cakes. That won't cut it when things get really hard.
Right. You need real passion, but passion aligned with something deeper.
Yeah, the source talks about alignment between your origin, what you've always been drawn to, your core wiring, your mission, and your vision. Those three need to click.
And if they don't, if you're just, say, chasing a crypto coin because your buddy got rich.
You'll bail the second it gets painful. Because there's no deep why driving you. And crucially, that misalignment, it actually repels talented people. They sniff it out.
Why is that?
Because great people want to join a mission, not just a get-rich-quick scheme. If your drive is superficial, you just can't enroll them in something meaningful.
Okay, enrollment. That feels like a key word here. It connects directly to pitching, doesn't it? Attracting talent, money, customers.
Exactly. Pitching isn't just spitting out facts and figures. It's fundamentally about enrolling people, getting them excited about a new idea, getting them to do something they didn't plan on doing when they woke up.
And there's a structure for that enrollment. The source calls it capstone.
Yep. The capstone formula. It creates this logical but also emotional flow that's really effective.
Right, let's break that down. C is 4.
Clarity, base level. Don't confuse people or you lose them instantly.
Makes sense. Then A.
Authority. Why should they listen to you? What's your background, your experience? Why are you the one to solve this? You need to establish that early.
Okay, so clarity, authority, then problem.
Define the problem you're solving.
Yeah.
Clearly. Then naturally comes your solution, your unique insight.
Got it. CAPS, what's next?
T, the why. This is crucial. Why do you care so much? Where does your origin story connect? This is where the passion comes through.
Right, that personal connection. Then O.
Opportunity. What's the bigger picture? What's in it for them if they join you?
And N. Got to be practical.
Next steps. Exactly. What do you want them to do right now? Be specific.
Okay, CAPSTON is the last one. Essence. Why end on emotion, not logistics?
Because emotion is what sticks. People remember how you made them feel. If you end with, okay, send me an email next week, it just fizzles out.
Okay.
You want to leave them with the feeling, the essence of the vision. You want them buzzing, thinking, wow, I want to be part of that.
That conviction, that desire to enroll others, it leads to this idea of the with or without you energy when you ask for something, right?
Exactly. It's this core component of a great ask.
Explain that. It sounds a little arrogant, like, I don't need you.
It's not arrogance, though. It's confidence in the vision. It signals this project is happening, it's going forward. Your involvement is an opportunity for you to be part of something great, not a lifeline that I desperately need. Zero neediness.
How do you pull that off without sounding like a jerk?
It has to be genuine. You have to truly believe the vision is bigger than any one person or any single piece of funding, like that entrepreneur who needed camera gear.
Oh yeah, the $10,000 worth of equipment.
Right. He asked the company for it just in exchange for putting their logo on some campus videos he was making.
And it worked.
It worked because he showed them the videos were happening anyway. He had the plan, the drive. The company could either jump on board and get the exposure or watch it happen without them. That's with or without you.
That kind of energy, that deep confidence, it must come from somewhere solid. Which I guess brings us to how wealth actually works according to this framework. Let's shift gears a bit.
Okay. The first principle of money here is pretty stark. Income follows assets.
We usually chase the income directly, don't we?
We do. But the source argues money flows much more easily, almost effortlessly, when you already have assets. Think about it.
Okay.
You want rental income. You need the asset first, the house, the building. Want big brand deals. You need the audience, the brand reputation. That's your asset.
So the goal of work shouldn't just be the paycheck.
Exactly. It should also be about consciously building and formalizing assets, like intellectual property, a strong customer list, a recognizable brand, something that has value beyond your direct labor.
Which completely reframes the whole work-life balance debate.
Totally. The source finds it misleading, especially for founders and creators, the people who thrive, who find fulfillment long-term. They're doing hard work that simultaneously develops an asset.
Can you get an example?
Sure. Contrast, like an Uber driver working a long shift. They generate income, definitely. But at the end of the day, is there a new asset? Not really.
Right.
Now think of a founder spending that same time building software or writing a book or creating a popular podcast. Like this one.
Huh?
They might be earning income, but they're also building equity, building a thing that can generate value even when they're not actively working on it. That's the sustainable model.
That dual purpose. Income plus asset creation.
Precisely. And one asset we often undervalue, relationships.
Ah, okay. How does that fit in?
The source is really clear. Money is relationships. Investing in people isn't just nice, it's presented as a core capital allocation strategy.
So practically, what does that look like?
Even if you're starting out, maybe you only have, say, $100 extra a month. The advice is use that money to take interesting people out for coffee or dinner, mentors, potential partners, people who are a few steps ahead of you.
It's not about quid pro quo networking then.
No, it's about building genuine connections, creating an environment of value around you. The founder in the source material even mentioned joining a specific private bank program just for the network access it provided. Buying proximity.
Investing in your ecosystem. Okay.
Yeah.
So you're building assets, building relationships. What about investing actual capital you accumulate? The advice here is surprisingly dull.
Huh?
Yeah, deliberately extremely boring. Stick available capital in the S&P 500.
Wait, really? After all this talk of entrepreneurship and disruption, why not tech startups or complex real estate deals?
The logic is about inflation, actually. The argument goes, when governments print money, inflating the currency, where does that excess cash eventually flow?
Good question.
Back into the biggest, most fundamental companies, the S&P 500. They absorb it through spending, investment, everything. So historically, it acts as a simple, robust way to protect against that currency devaluation. Less sexy, maybe, but potentially more reliable than trying to time complex markets.
Like a safe harbor in a storm. Right. But if you're looking for an active business opportunity, something high growth right now, the source points somewhere specific, not tech, but
Buying boring boomer businesses, BBBs.
Tell us about that. Why is that supposedly the biggest opportunity globally right now?
It's a demographic wave hitting an arbitrage point. Baby boomers own something like 65% of all business equity. A massive number of them are looking to retire.
But many of their businesses are kind of stuck. They're often declining from their peak because the owner is already semi-retired, mentally checked out. The systems are old. They're basically unsaleable in their current state.
Like that example of the owner literally sticking paper orders onto a metal spike on their desk.
Exactly. That's the kind of thing you see. Functional, maybe, but totally inefficient and impossible to scale or sell to a modern buyer. That inefficiency signals huge upside potential.
And the kicker is, You might be able to buy these with little or no money down. How does that work?
Through a vendor sale or seller financing, it's pretty clever.
Walk us through it. Say the business is valued at $1.2 million.
Okay. The buyer, maybe a younger entrepreneur, proposes to pay that $1.2 million, but over time, say 6 or 7 years.
So installments.
Right. And the seller, the retiring boomer, actually finances the loan themselves. They hold the note.
What's the security for the seller then?
The business itself. If the buyer screws up, stops making payments, the seller gets the business back. And crucially, they get it back with all the improvements, the new systems, the growth the buyer hopefully put in place. It lowers the risk for the seller significantly.
That makes sense. It aligns incentives, like the Kick King example.
Perfect example. Young buyer acquired a declining business using this model. Put in maybe $25K to digitize everything, update the systems.
And the result?
Grew at 500% in 2 years. Just fresh energy, basic digital systems applied to an existing, albeit tired, revenue stream. Huge win.
But you can't really tackle that kind of opportunity, digitizing and growing a business, all by yourself.
Absolutely not. Which brings us right back to teams. Solopreneurship is not the path to scale or even long-term fulfillment, according to this framework. Business is a team sport. Your success hinges on attracting great people.
And there's a model for scaling the team, too, not just hiring randomly.
Yeah, drawing from the British military, interestingly. A structured approach to team size. It goes, 2 people form a scout team, then 4 make a fire team, 8 become a section, and around 30 make up a platoon. It provides these natural stages of growth, keeping things manageable.
Prevents it from becoming chaotic.
Okay.
And within those teams, you need the right mix of people.
Definitely. You need complementary energies. The source uses the 4 suits from a deck of cards as an analogy.
Intriguing. What are they?
You need clouds, that's the visionary, the idea generator, then spades, the implementer, the doer, the one who actually digs in and does the work.
Okay, vision and action. What else?
Heart's the connector. This is the people person, handling relationships, networking, team cohesion. And finally, diamonds. That's money, finance, data, the analytical side.
And you need all 4 for a balanced, successful team.
Absolutely. Miss one and you're in trouble. All vision, no action, nothing gets done. All action and numbers, but no people skills. Your network and team culture suffer. The founder's job isn't to be all 4 suits.
But to conduct them, like an orchestra.
Exactly like a conductor, ensuring they all play together harmoniously. Which leads directly to the hiring philosophy. Hire overlings, not underlings.
Overlings, explain that.
Hire people who are demonstrably, fundamentally better than you at their specific job function. Way better.
Ooh, that takes some ego checking, doesn't it? The temptation is to hire people who just agree with you, who won't challenge you.
Huge temptation. But the source attributes the founder's success directly to finding and empowering people who knew far more about marketing or operations or finance than he did. Your company's greatest asset becomes this team of experts running their domains.
It lets the founder focus back on the vision, on the clouds role, perhaps.
Precisely. It's choosing winning over always being the smartest person in the room.
I like that. Okay, so let's try and wrap this all together for you listening. We started with getting off the sofa, right? Moving from idea to action like a scientist.
Yeah, validating quickly, cheaply, using things like waiting lists, finding that deep alignment, origin, mission, vision to fuel you.
Then mastering the art of enrollment through a solid pitch of the capstone structure, asking with or without you confidence.
And understanding wealth creation. Income follows assets. Focus on work that builds assets, including relationships. Maybe keep personal investing simple.
Look for opportunities like those boomer businesses. Structure deals creatively.
And build teams smartly. Scale methodically. Balance the energies, clouds, spades, hearts, diamonds, and crucially, hire overlings who are better than you.
It's a process. Concept, audience, offer, sales. Driven by vision, enrollment skills, and collaboration.
And looking forward, especially with AI becoming so powerful, there's a really interesting distinction the source makes between functionality and vitality.
Okay.
AI is getting incredibly good at functionality, executing tasks reliably, efficiently, crunching data, writing code, generating reports.
Right, stuff that can be automated.
Exactly. But what AI can't replicate, what humans uniquely provide, is vitality. That life force, the energy, the conviction, the why behind it all, the soul of the project.
AI handles the function, humans bring the vitality.
That seems to be the emerging reality, which leads us to a final, maybe provocative thought for you to consider.
All right, let's hear it.
Technology, especially AI, is incredibly good at 2 things right now. It can optimize, making you a better consumer, feeding you exactly what you want to see, buy, or engage with. Or,
Mm-hmm.
or it can be leveraged as the ultimate tool, like a superhuman assistant, to help you become an exponentially more powerful creator. So the choice you need to consciously make is, will you let these tools passively turn you into a more efficient consumer, or will you actively wield them to become a superhuman creator?